What does Paul mean when he says the unbelieving spouse is now sanctified as a result of the believing spouse? Now, one must be very careful. It does not mean that the unbelieving spouse is now saved as a result of the believing spouse. And the same applies for the children, because Paul is speaking in 1 Corinthians 7, verses 14 to 16 about the children as well, who are now sanctified or are made holy. So we need to be very careful here in regard to knowing or understanding what the word sanctified means. It is the opportunity that they now have because God can now work through one believing spouse. I hope you have that. Now God is able to work with one believing spouse in bringing the rest of the family to the saving grace and knowledge of who he is and who his son is. So we also need to understand that the unbelieving spouse is not obligated to stay in that marriage. And Paul says if he wants to leave or she wants to leave, they are welcome too. The believing spouse now sets the mark in terms of the character, in terms of the life that he or she should be living, so that the rest of the unbelieving members of the family will see the light. So the believing spouse must also be a testimony for the unbelievers in that family, because God is, again, as I said, using the believing spouse to bring the unbelieving members of the family to his saving grace and knowledge of who his son is. So again, one has to understand that the vessel that is already saved has to set the Jesus-like example for the rest of the family.